During the early morning hours of May 28th, 2021, shortly after I got out of bed, I could hear the crows making a lot of ruckus along the east side of our house. This is not unusual. Crows on our property often get excited about hawks or owls that they've seen, or foxes. In fact, the other day, when I heard a similar disturbance with a lot of crows, I looked out our window and I could see they were following a fox around that had wandered into the yard area, likely in search of rabbits, which are quite abundant right around our house. So after a while I became curious enough to go out and see if I could see the fox, because they seemed to be hanging around cawing for quite a long time, and I thought that's interesting that the fox would be there, and I figured maybe the fox had killed a rabbit and was just sitting out there eating it or something. So I decided to go out, and as I went down the hill from our house towards this area where the racket was occurring, I saw a large hawk fly out from the underbrush up into the pin cherries that lined the other side of the opening. And I realized right away that this was one of the goshawks that have been on the property for the last couple of years. There's a large gray bird, and there's no other real gray hawk that lives around here. So I felt a bit guilty in having disturbed it, probably from its eating. So I immediately came back in the house, and this was early on, still maybe 6:45 or whatever, and I knew I didn't really have to go out until about 8, so I came in and puddled around and had breakfast and whatnot, and anyhow, I didn't know if it had come back or not. By 8 o'clock I had to go out and do a few things, and decided to take the dogs for a walk for a couple hours, so I did that. And when I got back from that hike about 10:30ish, I went back down there to see what had occurred, if anything. And eventually, in the prickly ash area, I did find a dead carcass of a medium-sized young rabbit, and the crows flew out when I went down there. So I found that was kind of interesting, and hoped that the goshawk would come back, but I didn't really think he probably would, especially with all the crows harassing him or her, and then us going in and out through the day. But I decided to put my trail camera down there around 10 o'clock just in case. So I aimed it towards the dead carcass, and sure enough, as I sort of expected, I got many video clips of crows coming in to feed on the carcass. So all day, basically, based on the timestamps of these video clips. And I've included quite a few of them here, although there were over a couple hundred of these 15-second video clips of the crows eating this dead rabbit. But I was hoping that maybe somewhere through the day the goshawk would have come in and at least gotten some of the kill that he made, obviously. So, but as I looked on the video card, as I downloaded the samples from the video card, I could see that the vast majority of them were all just crows feeding away, and certainly they had a lot of benefit from the kill of the goshawk. But later in the day, and I was surprised, it was actually just before we got home from another outing. We got home about 5:30 or so, and then I had a couple clips of the goshawk, which was pretty neat. He came back, or she came back, and got some food, and I think eventually must have flown away with it, because I don't see any carcass out there at all. And that was about an hour after this that I went to check the site. So Pretty interesting.